Imagine for a second that you are sitting at the absolute pinnacle of an invincible galactic superpower.
Okay, I'm picturing it.
Right. So, you are part of this governing body, and you rule over, say, 12 million inhabited worlds.
Wow, that is a massive scale.
It's incomprehensible, really. And for 10,000 years, your laws have been absolute. I mean, your fleets are unchallenged. Peace is just a total guarantee because, well, honestly, nobody would ever dare question your authority.
Right, you've essentially mapped the stars, categorized every known threat, and you probably sleep incredibly soundly at night.
Exactly. You sleep like a baby, but then you wake up one morning and these reports start coming in. Entire star systems right on the edge of your territory have just vanished.
It's completely gone.
Completely gone. No stress calls, no wreckage, nothing. So you send out your most elite investigation armadas to figure out what's going on, and, well, those vanish too, without a single trace.
I mean, that is the ultimate nightmare for any heavily structured system, right? The complete, inexplicable silence.
It really is. It's the ultimate blind spot. You build a system so perfect that you just kind of forget how to handle anomalies. And that vulnerability is exactly what we're exploring in today's deep dive into this brilliant sci-fi narrative titled The Resurrection of the Guardians.
Such a fascinating source material.
Oh, it's incredible. So the mission for our deep dive today is to really unpack this epic tale of a supposedly extinct species making this sudden reality-bending return.
Right.
We want to extract the story's core themes, looking at the danger of hubris, the actual mechanics of a truly evolved civilization, and honestly, one of the best plot twists I have read in a really long time.
Yeah, it's a total masterclass in challenging the status quo.
Absolutely. And whether you are, listening to this to find a spark of creative inspiration or you just love a brilliant aha moment, this deep dive is going to completely reframe how you think about long-term preparation and untested assumptions.
Yeah, but to really appreciate the shock to this galactic system, we have to rewind the clock a bit. We need to set the stage.
Please do. Let's get into the backstory.
So 10,000 years before these mysterious disappearances, there was this event known as the Cataclysm Wars.
Okay.
And during this just unimaginably devastating conflict, humanity's home system simply vanished.
Like disappeared completely.
Exactly. And for centuries, this galactic council searched for us. But all they ever found were shattered planets, dead colonies, drifting space stations. I mean, they never found Earth.
So eventually they just close the book, right? The council officially seals the files and stamps a big, bold extinct over the entire human race.
Yeah, they literally write humanity off.
And over the course of 10 millennia, humanity goes from being this historical fact to a legend and eventually just a myth, like a scary bedtime story about this relentless, dangerous species that supposedly used to exist.
Right, which brings us right back to the Perseus Expanse. These mining colonies are disappearing. Entire worlds are going completely offline overnight.
But I want to pause here for a second, because if there's no wreckage, right, and no debris, how does the council even know this is a hostile act and not just, I don't know, some bizarre natural phenomenon?
Well, that's the terrifying part. They actually don't.
Wow.
But in military intelligence, the absence of data is suddenly the most terrifying data point of all. The council sends their massive, invincible armadas out to investigate, and they find no weapon signatures left behind. No energy trails.
Nothing at all.
Nothing. It's as if these massive fleets simply cease to exist. And you can't really fight a phenomenon that leaves zero telemetry.
No, you definitely can't. So the council calls this emergency session, and everyone is just panicking. The scientists are throwing out wild theories, pirates, unknown species, dimensional anomalies, but none of the math works.
Right. None of it fits the evidence.
Exactly. And then this young, trembling, scaled historian stands up before this entire assembly of galactic rulers, and he says, "My lords, I believe these disappearances match records from an extinct species."
Oh, here we go.
He says, the tactical patterns, the complete elimination of hostile forces, it's humans, and the entire chamber just erupts into laughter.
See, what's fascinating here is the absolute textbook display of cognitive bias.
Right.
We see this all the time, in our own history, in corporate structures,
Right.
in military intelligence. They have had 10,000 years of unchallenged rule.
10,000 years is a long time to be right about everything.
Exactly. Their entire foundation, their whole identity, is built on the premise of their own supremacy and perfect knowledge. So to accept this historian's data would mean accepting that their worldview is fundamentally flawed.
reading this, the council laughing at this historian is like, okay, imagine a modern cybersecurity expert claiming a massive, highly sophisticated data breach was just orchestrated by the Roman Empire.
That is a perfect analogy.
Right. It sounds completely absurd. They'd be like, the Roman Empire, they've been gone for thousands of years. They fought with swords. What are you even talking about?
It's exactly like that. It is an institutional failure of imagination. When your threat model hasn't been updated in 10 millennia, any data that doesn't fit is categorized as a glitch, not a warning.
Wow. Yeah, they just laugh him out of the room because acknowledging him literally breaks their reality.
But reality, has a surprising amount of detail and doesn't really care about your threat model.
No, it really does not. Because 3 months later, the laughing completely stops.
It sure does.
A council battle fleet that had been sent to the vanished colonies finally emerges from hyperspace, but it's just one ship. One single battered survivor. The hull is torn apart, the engines are failing, and the survivors on board are just deeply traumatized.
Yeah, they've seen something impossible.
Right. So the fleet commander is brought before the council. They demand to know what happened, and he just stares at them blankly and whispers one single word. Humans.
I mean, the psychological impact of that moment just cannot be overstated.
Yeah.
A ghost story basically just punched them in the mouth.
And he actually brought the receipts. He activates the recording from his ship. And the council watches this footage, and it's just, empty space stars. And then suddenly, with no warp signatures, no emissions, no warning whatsoever, hundreds of massive, sleek ships just blink into existence.
Right out of nowhere.
Right out of nowhere. They are larger than anything the council has ever built. And across every single hull, there is this glowing symbol, a blue planet surrounded by stars, Earth.
If we connect this to the bigger picture for a second, think about the physics required here.
Okay, yeah, let's talk about the physics.
The council relies on warp signatures, right? Detectable emissions. The fact that the human fleet simply appears means they have mastered a level of physics likely, folding space or utilizing extra dimensions to bypass linear distance entirely.
So they're not even playing the same game.
Exactly. It is an immediate, terrifying demonstration of an insurmountable technological gap.
And then comes the message. The human fleet transmits a broadcast, and this calm, composed voice just echoes through the council chamber. It says, "You declared us extinct. You were wrong."
Just chilling.
I mean, every single council member is just staring in horror. Humanity is alive. Now, if I'm the council chancellor, I'm looking at this telemetry data and realizing my physics textbooks are completely obsolete. The logical move is diplomatic outreach, right?
You would think so.
But an entrenched superpower can't really afford to look weak, can they?
Precisely. How does an entrenched, arrogant power structure react when confronted with an outside context problem? With overwhelming brute force, they fall back on exactly what they know.
Which is violence.
Right. The chancellor immediately orders total mobilization. Thousands of fleets, millions of warships assembling for conflict.
Because in their minds, humanity has been hiding for 10,000 years. The council assumes that sheer numbers will just crush them. So they launch this massive armada right into human territory.
Yeah, they expect to find a species just clinging to survival out in the dark.
But they are so wrong.
And this is where the council's fundamental lack of imagination really becomes their greatest vulnerability. They expect to find scavengers in ruins. Instead, when they enter human space, they find a civilization that has completely transcended the limitations of normal existence.
Right. The humans haven't just been surviving, they have been incredibly busy.
Very busy.
The council fleet drops in, and they see entire stars that have been re-engineered. They see Dyson swarms capturing the complete energy output of suns, artificial planets orbiting around these massive megastructures, instantaneous gateways connecting star systems.
It's breathtaking.
Okay, let's actually unpack this, because we hear Dyson swarm a lot in sci-fi, but let's ground that concept for a second. What does it actually mean to capture a star's output?
Well, it means humanity has officially ascended the Kardashev scale.
Okay, right.
In astrophysics, a Type I civilization can use all the energy of its home planet. A Type II civilization, which humanity has clearly become here, can harness the total energy of its star. And a Dyson swarm isn't like a solid shell. It's millions of orbital habitats and solar collectors surrounding a star, beaming unimaginable amounts of energy back to their grids. I mean, the energy available to a Type II civilization is billions of times greater than a Type I.
Billions. So the council isn't just facing better ships, they are facing an entity with practically infinite power.
Exactly. And this raises a really crucial insight about the nature of time and progress.
How so?
Well, for the Council, 10,000 years was a period of stagnation. They were on top, they had no existential pressure, so they just didn't innovate. They maintained the status quo.
Right, they got comfortable.
Super comfortable. But for humanity, driven into the dark, forced to survive, those 10,000 years were a crucible. Existential pressure accelerates evolution. Peace, ironically, degraded the Council's ability to innovate.
That makes so much sense, and the Council finds out just how outmatched they are very, very quickly.
Oh, yeah.
The Council's grand invasion, this massive armada of millions of ships, lasts exactly 6 minutes.
6 minutes.
6 minutes. Human drones appear by the millions. Autonomous warships bleed out of hidden dimensions. The text says reality itself seemed to bend around human technology. The entire Council armada is just annihilated, and humanity doesn't lose a single vessel. But wait, 6 minutes. Even with the technological gap, how do you physically dismantle that much mass in 360 seconds? It implies they weren't even fighting a traditional war.
Well, they weren't. I mean, you can't coordinate a defense against a 6-minute war using biological reflexes.
Right.
Humanity was likely using decentralized artificial superintelligence. The drones are calculating firing solutions in picoseconds, anticipating Council fleet movements before the Council commanders even formulate the thought to move.
Wow.
It's a mathematical demonstration of absolute superiority.
Yeah, the Council scientists reviewing the data realize humanity's energy sources are centuries beyond their comprehension. But the most terrifying conclusion the scientists reach is actually about humanity's intent. They realize humanity has spent 10,000 years explicitly preparing for war. They prepared for the worst-case scenario with the focus of a species that had already stared extinction in the face.
And having just lost spectacularly, the Council doubles down.
Of course they do.
It's the sunk cost fallacy on a galactic scale. They launch one final, desperate offensive.
Yeah.
Every available fleet, every soldier, every weapon they have left, the greatest military force ever assembled in galactic history, meets near the Orion Gate.
But humanity doesn't send thousands of ships to meet them. They don't even send hundreds. They send one.
Just one.
A single vessel emerges from hyperspace, but this thing is larger than a moon. Its surface is glittering silver. There are entire ecosystems visible beneath transparent domes, cities covering its hull. It's literally a floating world. And painted across the side is its name, Terra Nova.
I mean, the symbolism of the Terra Nova is profound. It's not just a warship, it's a sanctuary. It's a statement of survival and flourishing.
Now, I want to unpack this battle because I have to push back a little on the typical sci-fi laser battle trope here.
Okay, yeah.
Usually you expect the big ship to open up with massive cannons and just start blowing things up. The Council commanders actually laugh when they see it. One ship against millions. So the Terra Nova activates, but they don't fire a single laser.
No, because they don't need to. This is where we see the philosophical implications of truly advanced power. The Terra Nova doesn't engage in a firefight, it changes the rules of the environment.
Right. The stars dim, space twists.
Yeah.
It's like trying to fight someone in a swimming pool full of wet cement. They didn't punch the Council's fleet, they just changed the viscosity of the environment so the fleet couldn't even throw a punch.
That is the perfect mechanistic analogy.
Yeah.
The Terra Nova is actively altering the local physics. By artificially increasing the gravitational constant in that specific sector of space, or, manipulating the strong nuclear force, the Council's engines become too weak to move their own mass.
That's insane.
Their weapons systems simply fail to ignite, because the fundamental rules of combustion or energy transfer have been temporarily rewritten around them. The Terra Nova doesn't fight them. It just turns off their ability to fight.
It's unbelievable. And the Council, in their blind panic, still tries to attack. They manage to fire thousands of beams at this giant ship. But when the smoke clears, there isn't a single scratch on the Terra Nova. And then the human flagship finally responds.
Here it comes.
They use a single energy pulse, just one, and half of the entire Council fleet disappears. Millions of ships. But here's the kicker. They aren't destroyed. They are teleported.
Yes.
They suddenly find themselves light years away, completely unharmed but totally removed from the battlefield. The war is over instantly.
The science of that restraint is just staggering. To teleport millions of ships requires an unimaginable mastery of entropy.
How so?
Well, destroying a ship is easy. You just add energy until it breaks. It's chaotic. But teleporting a ship intact means perfectly mapping and moving trillions of quantum states without disrupting the biological processes of the crew inside.
Wow, okay.
So the restraint isn't just moral, it's a terrifying display of computational superiority. They are communicating, essentially.
Hmm.
We are so far beyond you that we can pause your existence and just place you elsewhere.
I'm struggling with this part, though. If they have the power to teleport millions of ships, they clearly have the power to atomize them.
Absolutely.
Sparing them feels incredibly risky. Why leave an enemy alive at your borders? I mean, why choose restraint? The answer to that question really flips this entire story upside down.
It really does. It forces a total reevaluation of everything we've learned so far.
So, shortly after this non-battle, a human representative requests permission to speak to the council. A hologram appears in the chamber. It's an elderly human woman in a dark uniform. She's calm, carrying centuries of wisdom. She acknowledges that the council thought they were extinct, but then she says, extinction was never our story.
Such a great line.
Right. She shows them images of human civilization, Earth, Mars, these gigantic habitats, peaceful lives. They built a utopia. She explains that they left 10,000 years ago because the Cataclysm Wars nearly destroyed them, and they vowed never to repeat that mistake.
They stepped away.
Yeah, they went into the dark to learn, to grow, and to prepare. And the Chancellor, still reeling from the battle, asks, prepared for what?
And this is where the true scale of the universe is revealed to the Council.
She looks right at him and says, today. She shows them a new image, a vast darkness far beyond the galaxy. Massive structures, alien fleets larger than planets, ancient machines waking up, a species known as the Devourers.
The Devourers.
For millions of years, they have been moving through the universe, consuming entire galaxies one by one. Humanity discovered them thousands of years ago, and that is what they have spent 10 millennia preparing for.
This is the critical pivot in the narrative. The missing colonies, the vanished fleets from the beginning of our deep dive, they weren't attacked by humans.
No. Here's where it gets really interesting. The humans weren't the aggressors. They were the shield.
Yes.
They had been secretly fighting the Devourers out on the frontier to protect the Council. The Council fleets that vanished were likely intercepted by the Devourers, and humanity had stepped in to hold the line. It's like finding out that the terrifying guard dog next door, the one you've been throwing rocks at because you thought it was vicious, has actually been secretly fighting off a pack of wolves every single night to keep your house safe.
That's exactly it. The Council misjudged humanity entirely because they were so focused on their own internal hierarchy, their own little pond of 12 million worlds.
Right.
They couldn't conceive of an ocean outside of it, let alone the Leviathan swimming in it. They mistook a guardian for a ghost and then a guardian for an enemy.
But I have to push back a little on humanity being the perfect guardians here. I mean, they let the Council think they were extinct for 10,000 years. By hiding the existence of the Devourers, didn't they leave the Council completely unprepared? It feels a bit like paternalistic arrogance on humanity's part, too. They effectively treated the Council like children.
That's a highly valid critique. It is paternalistic. But look at it from a strategic lens for a second.
Okay.
Humanity needed a stable, undisturbed rearguard to extract resources and build their Dyson swarms. If they had warned the Council's panic and internal politics would have likely fractured the galaxy, making a unified defense impossible.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, humanity made the cold, calculated decision that the Council was actually more useful to the war effort asleep than awake.
That makes a lot of sense, especially given how the Council reacts to fear. We saw that with the Armada. And the timing of this revelation is terrifying because right as she explains this, emergency alarms start blaring inside the Council chamber.
It's happened.
The Devourers have officially breached the perimeter. Thousands of frontier systems are under attack. The Council mobilizes, but their conventional weapons, the ones that didn't even scratch the Terra Nova, are completely useless against the Devourers. Worlds are burning. Defenses are collapsing. It looks like the end of everything.
The Council's 12 million worlds, their invincible fleets, all of it is just reduced to kindling before an existential threat they hadn't planned for.
But then humanity enters the war for real. Massive human battle groups emerge. Ancient weapons activate. Gigantic defense networks that they've been building for 10,000 years finally wake up. And the Devourers, for the first time in millions of years, are slowed down.
Yes.
Then they are stopped. Then they are forced to retreat.
What follows is a 3-year war where this dynamic completely shifts. Humanity doesn't just fight for the Council, they fight with them.
Right.
They share their Type 2 technology. They share their resources, their knowledge. They elevate the rest of the galaxy to stand beside them.
Yeah.
And together, they actually defeat the Devourers.
It's an incredible resolution. The galaxy survives. And after the war, the Galactic Council gathers again. But this time, it's not in fear or arrogance. It's in pure gratitude.
Yeah.
The High Chancellor stands up, looks at the human delegation, and does something no chancellor has ever done in the history of the Council. He bows, and he says, 10,000 years ago, we declared humanity extinct. We were wrong. Humanity was never extinct. Humanity was protecting us.
It's a profound moment of humility. I mean, the arrogant rulers of the galaxy finally recognize that true power isn't about dominion or control. It's about stewardship. Humanity reclaimed its place among the stars, not as conquerors, but as guardians.
Beautifully said.
And I really want to bring this directly back to you listening right now. Think about the scale of what we just discussed.
Yep.
Long periods of peace and dominance can degrade your ability to innovate. If humanity could spend 10,000 years in the dark, quietly, relentlessly preparing for a single, inevitable existential threat, what is the devourer in your own life or in your industry? And more importantly, are you blindly trusting that your current defenses are invincible? Or are you quietly building your Terra Nova right now to meet it?
It's a chilling thought, because even the most invincible superpower ruling over 12 million worlds can wake up one day to find that the stars have vanished. You don't want to be the one caught laughing at the warning signs. Keep building, keep preparing. Until next time.